In a lab you'll never hear about, an AI just designed an experiment, ran it, read the results, and decided what to test next, without a single human approving any of it. That's not a prediction. That's already happening today, in 2026. For the last 2 years, the AI conversation has been about chatbots, tools you talk to, tools that answer questions. But that phase is ending. The next phase isn't about AI answering questions, it's about AI running entire loops on its own, discovering, designing, diagnosing, deciding, with humans setting the goals and checking the results, but no longer doing the work in between. 2027 was about AI leaving the cloud and entering everyday life. 2028 is about AI starting to run the systems that quietly hold civilization together. Science, infrastructure, medicine, and even the question of what we can still trust as real. This is Future Lens. Here are the technologies that will define 2028 and what they mean for you. The AI scientist. Let's start with the one almost nobody is talking about, because it's not flashy, it just quietly outperforms human research teams. Self-driving labs are already running thousands of chemistry and biology experiments every week. A robotic arm executes what an AI model proposes. Sensors read the results, and the model generates the next hypothesis. A complete research loop with no human standing in the middle of it, running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Right now, this exists mostly inside pharmaceutical companies, hunting for new drug candidates faster than any human-led lab ever could. But by 2028, expect this same loop to spread into material science, battery chemistry, and agriculture. New battery materials that charge in minutes instead of hours. Disease-resistant crops engineered for a warming climate. Industrial coatings and alloys discovered not through decades of trial and error, but through months of autonomous testing. Here's the part that actually matters. For the entire history of science, the bottleneck was human creativity and human hours. How many smart people you could put in a room and how many experiments they could physically run in a lifetime. By 2028, that bottleneck disappears. The new limit isn't ideas, it's how fast we can physically manufacture and test what the AI proposes. That's a strange kind of future, one where the hardest part of scientific progress becomes logistics, not intelligence. Self-improving hardware. Here's a part of this story that happens almost entirely out of public view, because it takes place inside chip factories, not on your screen. AI is now being used to design the next generation of AI chips, laying out billions of transistors more efficiently than human engineers can achieve, cutting design cycles from years down to months. By 2028, expect this loop to tighten even further. AI models help design faster, cheaper, more power-efficient chips. Those chips are then used to train even more capable AI models. Those models go on to design the next generation of chips. Each cycle gets shorter than the one before it, a feedback loop that compounds instead of staying flat. This is the quiet engine sitting underneath everything else on this list. Every breakthrough in medicine, robotics, or science depends ultimately on how much computing power exists and how cheap it becomes. By 2028, the handful of companies and countries that control this loop won't just be ahead in AI, they'll effectively control the speed at which the entire industry is allowed to move. That's why the real AI race in 2028 won't be fought over the smartest chatbot. It'll be fought over factories, energy grids, and supply chains most people will never see. The invisible doctor. Now to something that touches every single person watching this: healthcare. By 2028, AI won't wait for you to get sick before it acts. Continuous monitoring through wearables, home sensors, and routine blood work will track subtle patterns in your body over time and catch disease risk years before a symptom would ever cause you to book a doctor's appointment. Hospitals are already piloting systems that predict complications like sepsis hours before they become clinically obvious to a human doctor. The next step is a complete shift in how medicine works. Prevention becomes the default, and the annual checkup gets replaced by constant, quiet background monitoring that only surfaces when something actually needs your attention. But here's the honest complication. The algorithm isn't the hard part. It's trust and liability. Who is responsible when an AI system flags something and it's right? Who is responsible when it's wrong? Insurance companies, regulators, and hospitals are still working out those answers, and that fight, far more than the technology itself, is what determines how fast this actually reaches your own doctor's office. Tech 4, the verification economy. By 2027, AI could already generate video good enough to fool almost anyone. By 2028, a harder problem takes over. How do you prove that anything is real? Expect this to create an entirely new layer of the economy built around content provenance systems, cryptographic watermarking, and verification badges, the digital equivalent of a wax seal on a letter. Instead of trying to detect fakes after the fact, the industry shifts towards proving authenticity from the moment something is created. This changes more than entertainment. It changes journalism, courtroom evidence, insurance claims, and even ordinary video calls with your family. Verified becomes a feature people are willing to pay for, the same way organic became a label worth a premium at the grocery store. By 2028, trust becomes a product with its own market, its own certifications, and its own price tag. The governance race. All of this, autonomous science, self-designing chips, invisible diagnostics, synthetic media, creates a problem no algorithm can solve on its own. Who's actually in charge of it? By 2028, expect AI governance to become one of the defining political issues of the decade, on the same level as trade or energy policy today. Governments are racing to write rules for autonomous systems making real-world decisions, medical, financial, industrial, while the technology itself keeps moving faster than the laws meant to govern it. By 2028, expect a patchwork of regulation, different rules in different regions, companies navigating a dozen different legal standards at once, and a real competitive advantage for whoever manages to build trustworthy, well-governed AI systems first. Because by 2028, the market increasingly rewards proof of safety, not just proof of capability. What this means for you. So, what do you actually do with all of this? Notice the pattern running through every shift in this video. AI is moving from answering questions to running entire loops: discovery, design, diagnosis, verification, even governance, with humans setting the goals and checking the outcomes, but no longer doing the repetitive work in between. That's exactly the skill that survives this transition, knowing which outcome to trust, which experiment actually matters, which risk is worth taking, and which system needs a human to step in and say no. The people who thrive in 2028 aren't the ones trying to outcompete these systems at their own game. They're the ones who learn to direct them. None of this is speculation dressed up as prediction. Every technology in this video is already running in a lab, a chip factory, or a hospital pilot program right now in 2026. 2028 is simply the moment it becomes visible to everyone else. If you want to see it coming before it does, subscribe to FutureLens. See you in the next one.